Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. My name is Rich Longo, and I'll be your host for another Flycast Partners webinar. I want to thank you for joining us for another presentation. Today's webinar is on Identity Management, presented by our very own Michael Durrant. Michael's an experienced pre-sales senior solutions consultant with extensive experience in collaborating with clients on IT strategies. He is a proven leader that is results-driven, motivated professional with extensive experience in spearheading the management, design, development, implementation, and testing of IT solutions. Recognized leader in effectively translating major business objectives into high-impact technical solutions. Commitment to helping organizations achieve maximum benefit from their IT investment through team leadership, strategy, execution, and commitment to quality. He has well over 18 years, folks, 18 years of experience in the IT space, a reputation for dedicated teamwork, high-energy work ethic, and commitment to customer service. Adept in analyzing customer needs and collaborating effectively with clients, assessing needs and resolving issues. Conscientious, dependable, and completing projects within appropriate time frames. Before we get started, Michael, let me take a couple moments to introduce Flycast Partners. Flycast Partners is here to deliver a seriously amazing IT experience. We are founded and staffed by personnel that have many years of experience in the IT space and took the best of these ideas and collective experiences and added the best components necessary to grow and become a leading value-added reseller in the North American IT market. We offer nothing but best-in-class implementation services and training in IT service management, IT asset management, IT operations management, enterprise service management, and batch processing spaces using ITIL best practices or processes. Our professional services team can easily scale up or down to meet the IT needs of any customer, regardless of your size, complexity, or budgetary restrictions. We offer implementation services both on-site and remote, as well as training to reinforce your company's long-term IT success. Our ongoing remote administration support service offerings will enable your organization to focus on those normal day-to-day operations, saving you both time and precious money. Feel free to reach out to us at any time at 844-FLYCAST, that's 844-359-2278, or visit our website, flycastpartners.com. We have IT experts there to answer your questions live Monday through Friday during normal business hours. They'd love to talk to you. This is one of many weekly webinars that we offer here at Flycast Partners. I encourage you to look around on our website, poke around a little bit, and look at some of the topics that may interest you. Sign up for them, share them with your coworkers. I also encourage you to download data sheets and white papers, take a look at some of the technologies that we sell, as well as some of the services. We do have an ITIL 4 training class coming up in the month of July 22nd through July 26th. For those of you that may be interested, I encourage you to sign up for that and encourage you to share that with other folks. This class does include, for $12.95, includes the voucher for the test as well as an ebook. So it's a great value. So without further delay, I'm going to turn this over to Michael. But if you have any questions during our presentation, I do want you to please type that in the Q&A section of this WebEx, and we'll ask Michael as he's giving his presentation and get those answers for you live during this webinar. As many questions as time will allow. With that being said, it's all yours, Michael.
Thanks, Rich.
There you go.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good morning. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Absolutely. Loud and clear. Very much so. Yep.
All right. Perfect. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Michael Durrant, and thank you very much for having us for a quick overview of another topic on the Ivanti stack. Today's topic is going to be around identity. And we'll go through a couple of slides, and we'll take a look at the product and the automation as well. I do, ask that, to get more detailed into these products, reach out to us at Flycast to get, more of a detailed demonstration of what these products can do. Because doing these demonstrations, doing these webinars, we're going to focus on a high level of, the topic and the product itself. So let's get started. And Rich, you see my screen okay?
I do. I see slide about agenda.
All right, perfect. So I figured, for those of you that hasn't joined any of my webinars in the past, do take a look at the website at Flycast. You would see there's some webinars coming up and some that we've already done. But I'll give you an overview of Ivanti. We'll talk a little bit about what is identity and access management, and then we'll look at the identity director and automation, and we'll do that through an onboarding process. We'll look at the workflows and the automation that's tied to them. So Ivanti. So when you look at this slide, a couple of things I want to point out about the Ivanti as a company, as a vendor. They manage over 45 million endpoints, and they do this. They've been doing business in this area since 1985. They have over 1,700 employees in 2,300 countries. They're global. The partner system is pretty solid. I just wanted to point out that we are Partner of the Year, so just, the accolades around Flycast. Ivanti, obviously, when you go through this demonstration, I show you how Ivanti has been formed. Their approach is about a unified service, security, ops management, IT approach, and they provide solutions that allow you to obtain that unified approach. There are, over 27,000 customers worldwide. They are leaders in the Gartner quadrant. Annual revenue over 500 million. As I mentioned, they have leadership within this organization over 34 years. Now, how did Ivanti come about? So a little bit about my background. I worked for a company called LANDesk, which is now part of the Ivanti portfolio. You would see in some of these on this timeline, there's a couple of solutions that says LANDesk company, like Extraction, Let Mobile. I remember when Managed Planet came on board. I was a customer at the time. But fast forward today, we're going to look at the acquisition with Res, which has formed the identity management system. And collectively, these acquisitions and with organic growth of what LANDesk has formed Ivanti. So what is identity and access management? So identity plays a major role in, everyday life. It's the key that determines, the particular transactions in which, we can rightfully access and participate in the information that we're entitled to. Think about, going into an office, maybe on a plane, logging into a website, making a purchase online. We generally don't pay attention to the management of our identity as much and the credentials unless something seriously goes wrong. So identity management will be all about, managing your entitled services, the devices you're coming in on, people in identities, attributes, more of an attribute approach. So where does Ivanti Identity Director fit? So think identity access governance, for a modern world, right? So we fall under the identity governance arena, understanding, who has access, and who should have access to existing business processes, business rules that are currently in place, applications, around maybe a specific role, what location you're in, and giving you access to those things accordingly, and being able to be audit ready. Obviously for internal audits, external audits, for things like SOX. I've been part of those groups and understand what it takes to be able to show and manage the life cycle of an end user. Technology trends such as cloud and mobile, they've transformed, right? And the way in which IT delivers services to the business. But these new technologies, also, IT complicates IT's ability to manage manage things like identities, and access to introduce new, which introduces new challenges around, obviously, productivity, employee productivity. Without automation, to manage things like identities, it has become a difficult time enforcing, complex access policies. In the past, in using specific tools, I've managed the Eastern Seaboard in over 55 locations, and when those SOX audits came, and having to disable a user while I'm driving from maybe one state to other, and it actually sits in my inbox, can open up some serious security issues for organizations. With these solutions, the way we fit in, we can manage the life cycle, the provisioning, deprovisioning, compliance, security, and allow you to do access reviews, which will be very, very important in managing the identity of that user. So why do we need this? Why do we need an IGA solution? Well, let's think about, for most of history, right? Our identity systems have been based on face-to-face interactions, maybe passing physical documents and doing some processes. But the transition to a digital economy requires radically different identity systems, right? In a world that is increasingly governed and, by digital transactions and data, our methods for managing digital identities, security, and privacy has been, proven to be a little bit inadequate. So it's an ever-going, struggle. If we think about 4 specific areas, things like job change, or, in today's world and today's economy, high turnover is pretty common, or turnover, as a matter of fact, is pretty common. So that means users are coming and going. This leads to, increased security issues. I've been a consultant in my IT career, and have had access to systems long after I left, and based on my relationships, I obviously notified them. So those are one of the areas that we can help in managing the identity. You can have things like, obviously this leads to security risk, right? Security risk could be around, as I just mentioned, the story about me being a consultant and leaving and still having access to your critical systems. But it can also be around, someone knowing an administrator and being put into a security parameter that was not driven from the original request. This system will allow you to manage all of that. And in terms of, as I mentioned, stricter regulations, internal audits, SOX audits, GDPR, all of those areas, we can help you in terms of automation and managing the life cycle of those identities. And again, your cloud and hybrid systems, how they connect, what you have access to when, so this also increases, security issues around users and resources being accessed in systems that you don't physically have access to or control at certain times. And with all of this, acquisition, as I mentioned, Ivanti is driving that integrated, IT. I do recommend that you visit us to get, webinars around any of these pillars: endpoint security, unified endpoint management, IT asset management, service management, and today we're going to look at identity management. Now, these systems are all integrated, whether they're in the cloud or on premise, and they do roll up to a really powerful business intelligent value dashboarding tool with reporting capabilities called Extraction, which allows you to easily report on how you're managing these policies, how they're working, provide relevant information, information that you need to know. So a quick, sort of high-level overview of the Identity Director architecture. from left to right, these are sort of authoritative sources, so to speak. And what we do is we sort of generate a identity warehouse in which we could sort of bring these identities together, because you would have an identity in HR, you may have a temp identity, a project, you'd be doing certain things, and we bring these together, again, in an agile format, sort of more of an attribute-based control as opposed to role-based control. The system provides over 400 out-of-the-box connectors. So on the right, you see where we can connect to your SaaS solutions, maybe on-prem solutions, to allow you to manage, access, for the right reasons. Stuff like that. So we're going to get into a little bit of we're going to get into a little bit of the product in this demonstration. I'm going to show you maybe an example of how you can maybe interact with an onboarding process, and how identity sort of manages that user through automation, and how easy it is to put together these workflows. All right. Still see my screen okay? Rich? Just want to make sure that everyone could still see my screen, because I know with WebEx sometimes when we change focus. Rich, you guys see my screen?
Though. It looks good. Yeah, it looks great. You're looking at Service Catalog, IT Support Portal. It looks fantastic.
Right. Perfect. So this is an example of, where maybe a new hire can be, submitted. And the example here I'm using is through Ivanti's service management system. This is a dynamic form that collects relevant information that can then pass this information to automation, through integration, through the workflows, over to the identity management system. You are looking at, an out-of-the-box form. You can add additional functions to this form if you'd like. I thought I'll keep it simple by just showing you the out-of-the-box. I'm going to hire Bruce Banner today. He's going to be in the IT department. He's going to be responsible for disposing systems. He's going to be the system smasher. He's going to be here full-time, starting, July 7th, 11th. And obviously the facilities details. So let's go ahead and submit this, and then we'll look at how Identity picks this up and uses it from here. Now, keep in mind, this can be coming from maybe an HR system in which, you're actually generating this request, particularly from there. So this is just a quick example of how this can be submitted. Okay. What I also mentioned earlier is through integration, you can easily integrate these systems to be able to, pass that information quite easily. All right, so let's bring over my identity system. So this is the out-of-the-box identity system dashboard. Within this system, what you notice here is it's presenting information around an entitlement catalog. We'll talk about that in a second. People attributes, data connections, and obviously your licensing. It also shows things around most recent transactions. So I can keep tabs on information that's, relevant to me. If something fails, as we can see there, it successfully created the user. So again, think about, having information that you need to know at your fingertips. It brings, to your attention what needs your attention. So we'll take a look at that in a second as to why maybe that failed, but we see here that, a user was created, and let's go ahead and look at the different areas of what took place there. So before we get into identity, let's go back a bit and see what I did through my recent training in getting ready for this system. So this system is very, very powerful, really intuitive and easy to use. So what you're looking at is the automation engine that I use to do something like create a user, set some employee numbers, calculate usernames, and that can all be driven from the form that I showed you earlier. what I did initially is within this product, you're allowed to create modules which can roll into projects, and then roll into runbooks. So these modules are really, really powerful. So in the maybe something like creating a new user, what I can do is basically associate this with a task, and these tasks open up a library of functions to do things around configuration, Active Directory. As you can see, that I don't need to do any scripting to create the functions that I need to call or even monitor based on this user interaction. What I use for today's demo is, rolling into projects. I created a couple projects that rolled up my modules. And then from the projects, I can create runbooks, which can be used throughout things like service management, any of the other Ivanti pillars. Then in the Ivanti Identity Director, what I did is I created an entitlement catalog. And what this entitlement catalog does is allows us to create the specific workflows using attributes from the people and the organization. And in these workflows, they're very simply laid out where you deliver, maybe creating a user, and then you can inactivate that user. So when I expand on this workflow, you can see that I will have access to what the workflow is actually called, what runbook I'm actually going to use, and keep in mind I'm pretty new to this actual system. I actually built this myself, so it's very, very easy to set up, very intuitive. Hats off to Ivanti and their training process. Very easy to follow. So I can select one of those runbooks. As I showed you the automation server that I created. And once I select that runbook, I can then select specific parameters, look at the runbook results, and any additional properties that I need to create for that runbook. Within the system, as I mentioned, we'll be managing things like your people attributes. So you see here that Bruce Banner was created recently, and in Bruce Banner's attributes, I can do things like mark him for deletion, or this can be triggered through an automation based on the life cycle of this particular user. In the organizational area, this is where we will do things like integrate with maybe your Active Directory organizational units, and so that you have your departments. Your departments can maybe align with Active Directory, your corporate IT, finance. Setting up those are pretty easy as well through data connections. And then we can keep tabs on all of our transactions. So anything that's failed, we can actually drill into that particular area and see exactly where it's failed. It will take you exactly to the step in which it has failed. So it looked like it's failed creating the Active Directory user home directory, and that's fine. I made some changes to a directory, and that's probably what's caused that. But on my dashboard, I'm able to follow as maybe a hiring manager, all of the transactions that are happening, anything that's failed. I can see Bruce Banner was recently created, and I believe if we look in my Active Directory, we see that Bruce Banner has now appeared. So, again, a very powerful system that allows you to monitor the life cycle of this user. As, we can go ahead and terminate this user or move them to a different role. This system will monitor the life cycle of that user, allowing you through the workflows, the outcomes that you design using the Ivanti Identity System. So with that, I want to thank everyone for joining us. I urge you to reach out for a more in-depth demonstration of this product. There's a lot more than what I showed today, but I want to thank you for joining us for this brief overview of identity management, and I hope you would come back to look at the series that's coming up soon. Thank you again, and Rich, back to you.
Yeah, audience, I didn't see any questions today, which is, typically we get quite a few. So if you have a question and just didn't feel like asking live during today's presentation, go ahead and reach out to us at info@flycastpartners.com. We'll get an answer for you in the next couple of days or immediately. If you want an immediate answer, pick up the phone. Call us at 844-FLYCAST. That's 844-359-2278. Or better yet, visit us on our chat and chat with one of our IT experts. They're waiting just for you to answer your questions. questions. If you're interested in demo or any other additional information about this identity management tool, let us know. We'd love to help you out. And with that being said, Michael, thank you for taking time out of your very busy day to do this for us.
Thank you, Rich. Thanks for having me.
All right. And folks, we appreciate you as well taking time out of your day to join us for today's webinar. I encourage you to check out our podcasts on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We do some funnier podcasts as well as some industry-related podcasts. So check those out on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Some of them are very educational. And enjoy the rest of your week, folks. And until our next webinar, have a great 4th of July, and we'll see you after the 4th.